Joining us live now is Siracusa from RMIT University. Jo, thank you for your time. Now, with Elizabeth Warren dropping out, it certainly wasn't unexpected. Why do you think she failed to gain that momentum?
Well, she just wasn't getting the support. I mean, when you're number third in your home state, at least it's time to go home. Hey, look, this race started, this is the Melbourne Cup, started with 24 people. We had women, we had a gay guy, we had Latinos, we had blacks, we had billionaires, poor people, and all kinds of people in between. At the end of it, we come down to what? Two old white guys. I mean, it's an extraordinary week in politics. But let me tell you, I think this has got a lot more to do than politics. I mean, all of a sudden, America has become a very serious place with this coronavirus, which then morphs into this COVID-19. And there are epidemic type people at Harvard who are predicting maybe 60 to 100 million deaths based on the Spanish flu figures. I mean, this particular kind of disease is killing 3.2 people who contract it. It's deadly. And I think America is having a second thought about safe hands. They want safe hands on this project, and I think they drifted to Biden. He looks like safe hands. Bernie Sanders looks like he wants to shake up everything, including Medicare or the universal health care, universal child care. He wants to work on student debts and the rest of it, and, you know, that's fine. And once again, as in last year or several years ago, where will these the supporters of these people go? Will they get up on that cold Tuesday in November, first Tuesday in November, which is really easy to remember? It's Melbourne Cup Day here. And will they go out and vote for the other guy, the guy they don't like? Bernie Sanders now is up against the Democratic establishment, which doesn't want him because they reckon he will kill the down ticket. That is, everybody after him might get a negative vote. He might get a positive vote, but other people won't like the senator's views or the congressman's views. And on that first Tuesday in November, they even vote in the dog catcher. I mean, everybody's on the ticket. So the down ticket looks very bad for some people, and the Democratic Party is determined to stop this guy, that is, the establishment. So once again, we got Bernie Sanders up against the entire system. If he gets past the establishment, he then has to face Donald Trump's juggernaut. And we got Joe Biden, who's becoming more and more confident of defeating Donald Trump. In fact, he can't wait to take Trump on.
It doesn't help when Bernie Sanders gets up and says he doesn't actually care how much universal health care would cost. But can I ask you about that Massachusetts result that you referred to? That is Elizabeth Warren's home state. She came in third behind Joe Biden on 33.6% and Bernie Sanders 26.7%. Now, that's pretty extraordinary just in the fact it is her home state, but also Bernie Sanders was supposed to do better because he comes from Vermont, which borders on Massachusetts, and so there was supposed to be that local love for him. Why do you think Joe Biden surged ahead so much?
Oh, because he's an old friend of the Democratic establishment in Boston. Boston is I think it's the 37th size town in the United States. It's not like Melbourne or Sydney or Chicago or New York. It's a smaller place that is the incorporated city of Boston. And the Democratic Party tends to be very tough, Irish Catholic type crowd, and they'd be all Biden supporters and Hillary before that. I mean, you know, he's part of the establishment. Bernie's not. Now, keep in mind, a long time ago, when I was young in 1972, I supported a fellow, George McGovern in Massachusetts. We worked on his campaign, and he was very progressive. He was like Bernie. And we won the state of Massachusetts that night, and then we lost 49 states in a row after that to show you how inept we were. And the thing is that you can't really tell if the state rolls on you, whether you are the bellwether or you are the funeral dirge that comes along. You never know if you're at the beginning or the end until all the votes are counted. But look, I tip my hat to Joe Biden this week. He's come back from the dead, and he's revived his campaign. He's picked up blacks and women and Hispanics and college-educated people, non-college educated people. He's come along as sort of the unifier. The only problem is he's going to be 78 by the time the election is held. Bernie will be 79 by the time the election is held. And so for both of these gentlemen, the most important thing they can do between now and then is pick a really damn good running mate. And Biden, I think, if he picks one of the top women on who's running for president or who's on the sidelines, he will cement himself. But Bernie is a little harder to join his team because, you know, Bernie doesn't take any prisoners. You know, he's one of these guys. You're either with him or go to hell. And we all know people like that. And Bernie, he's right where he was, you know, several years ago. He's now looking at the race leaving him, and victory is in the rearview mirror. And he must wonder, gee, you know, back to the future. But look, the age of these people is very telling. You know, America wants safe hands, and I think the coronavirus has transformed this race. Now, up till now, Wall Street doesn't really care what Donald Trump does. They don't care what goes on in the soap opera in the White House. They don't care about North Korea, Putin, or anybody else. But they do care when coronavirus or a disease like this affects every major stock in the United States and how people will be living the next 6 months. This is the one that really touches the pocketbook. And I think we don't really emphasize it enough. We're trying to imagine, well, what explains Biden? What explains what's going on? What explains going on is the Americans are terrified that some clown is going to be in charge of the science as we move forward to defeat this disease. And as I say, this happened in 1918, 1919. We didn't know what to do about it. We had incompetent people, and 50 million people died.
Joe, just finally, we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to get to the point we were saying before the break. Elizabeth Warren hasn't actually nominated her preferred candidate. We saw pretty specifically with the other Democrats who've dropped out that they endorsed Joe Biden very quickly. Why do you think she hasn't been quick to endorse anyone?
Well, she hasn't been quick because she's mad as hell. I mean, she's trying to figure out what all this means for her personal life. She's got completely confused, and she will give, I'm sure, Biden Bernie Sanders her support, because Bernie's closer to she is than Biden is. But, you know, she wants to take a couple days, and, you know, she's drained. You know, this has been, for her, a 15-round championship match, and she's just been knocked out in the 15th round. And so she just wants to gather her thoughts and write a damn good speech and position herself for the future. She's still the senator. And keep in mind, all these people who have run for president, they would make really great members of the cabinet. They're really bright people with lots of constituencies out there. So there's going to be no trouble when it comes time to make major appointments to the cabinet of the United States. So, but anyway, I think she's just biding her time.
Got their eye on it.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Joe Siracusa, thank you so much for your time.